To begin my acrylic painting, I'm taking down a very watered down color that I'm spreading all along my canvas. This is an underpainting, and what I'm doing here is I'm taking a paper towel and I am taking away some of that paint, smudging it with my paper towel to reveal some of my highlights. Now I'm going in and I'm creating that wash using, again, very watery paint to help me sketch out my lines, remembering that none of this is permanent. I'm going to continue doing this here in this stage 2, and you'll see me starting to add in some of my shadows as well. All I'm worried about in this stage is the darks and lights, using my knowledge of complementary colors to create duller, darker areas, and really focusing in on using my brush strokes to help me show dimension. You can see here I'm continuing to use that wet paper towel or even a dry paper towel as a tool, so I can keep putting paint down and taking it off as I go. Nothing that you do is permanent. It can be painted over and it can be taken away. When I'm ready to add color, I'm going to be looking carefully and closely at my reference image. I might think about the colors that I want to emphasize, colors that I want to keep true to the image, and colors that I want to change. As I'm working here, you'll notice that I'm working on all parts of my canvas. I'm not only staying in one spot. Anytime that I use a color, I'm going to look carefully at my reference image and think about where I can include that color in other areas of my canvas. This way, while the paint is still wet, I can make sure that I have an equal distribution of my paint and my different colors all over the canvas. This will help my painting look very cohesive. So again, notice how I'm working on all parts of my canvas at a time. As I'm painting, I am using a dry brush technique. There is not a lot of paint on my brush. You can see here how transparent I'm working. Again, not a lot of paint on my brush, and I am continuing to go back in and start to smudge out some of my colors using my wet paper towel. So when I work in thin, light layers, it gives me the chance to take my paint away where needed. Here you can see me start to create my black. So I'm mixing brown and I'm mixing blue together to create a dark color black. I saw it was a little green, so I decided to add some red. As we've talked about, this takes some adjusting and playing around with. Once you have a color that feels like a deep, dark version of the color that you're using, then you can go ahead and add it to your canvas. Again, as I'm working, I'm going in thin strokes of paint using that dry brush technique. I don't have too much paint on my brush. I'm working in very subtle, translucent layers as I go. So here is my work so far. I am not done, but I have a good idea of where my highlights are, where my shadows are, and I've even started to add some color as well.